Guys, how are you today? I just wanted to get on here and share with you my story of how I leveled up. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Jordan Rios, and I'm a life coach, and I'm a mom of soon to be six. I'm expecting my sixth baby here in a few months in October of 2021. And I live in East Tennessee, the United States, and I just love watching other women succeed. And I became a life coach because I want to share basically the story that I'm sharing today and teach you step by step how to get unstuck and how to achieve your goals. And so I'm just going to share a little bit about my personal story, about my transformation, about how I leveled up. And when I'm talking about leveling up, I'm not just talking about my business. That was definitely an important piece. But I'm going to talk about all the areas of my life because you see, I teach a thing called mindset work. And you may not know what mindset work is, so let me just give you a brief explanation. So, mindset work is shifting your mindset, starting with inner work instead of outer work. It is changing your thoughts. It is examining what beliefs or thoughts you have that hold you back and replacing those thoughts with thoughts that propel you forward. And it's so important that we start when we're approaching a goal or trying to make a massive shift in our life, that we start with up here instead of the outer world, instead of the habits and the to-do list and things that we want to do, because it doesn't work if we start with the outer world, because we have to change the inner world first. Our outer world is a reflection of our inner world. So that's what I teach in my coaching, in my courses. If you let me know, before I get really deep into this content, I've already said a little bit. Let me just do a few little housekeeping things. So if you're not a member of my private Facebook group, it is called Survival Mode to Successful Moms Creating Momentum. I encourage you to join. It is an awesome place. There's a lot of things that happen in my Facebook group that aren't happening here on YouTube. So please just join that group. And if you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe, because there's also a lot of videos, a lot of great video content that gets posted here on YouTube that doesn't go into my live group. So subscribe to my YouTube channel and join my private Facebook group so that you don't miss a thing, because I show up for you. I give you all the value and all the content you need. And I'm here for you, to communicate with you and to help you in your journey towards success, out of survival mode and into success. So now that that is covered, I want to just go right into my story of how I leveled up every area of my life. So if you've watched any of my YouTube videos, by the way, I go live on YouTube and in my Facebook group every day at 11 o'clock in the morning. So be sure to turn on the notifications so that you can know when I go live every day at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So you don't want to miss it. There's a lot of cool stuff there. But what I was going to say is, if you've watched me before, you've heard me talk about my story about how I was in survival mode for almost 8 years and I just couldn't get out of it. And when I say survival mode, I mean my life was a mess. I was pretending in every area of my life. I desperately wanted to be a successful mom, a successful businesswoman, and I wanted, there were a lot of things that I had intentions of doing that I couldn't move any closer to my goals. Everything was disorganized. No matter what I tried, I was not having any success. Does that sound familiar? I had lots of areas in my life that I wanted more. I wanted to be healthy, to be physically healthy. I wanted to lose weight. I wanted, to be in control of my relationships with my kids, in my home, in my career. I wanted to grow my business. I'd already had two failed businesses, so that was just really hard for me to even dream of being successful in business, because I had these two failures right behind me. And I was starting to question, is any of this ever going to happen? Because when you've been stuck for 8 years, you have a lot of doubts, you have a lot of baggage. And I had reached a breaking point. I just said, something's got to give, because I can't live like this anymore. And I tried a lot of things to get out. I had read a lot of books. I'd followed a lot of people. I tried to change my habits. And I'd gain a little bit of traction and then slide right back to where I was before. And, I was massively in debt. I had no savings. I was just really, the money was always a point of pain for me. And it was just, I felt like I was on a hamster wheel. I was overcommitted in so many different areas, and I was not finding fulfillment in any area of my life. But what shifted was earlier in 2020, I made a massive shift. I had no idea how big this shift was going to be when I made it, but there were a few relationships. This is what started kind of like the snowball effect that I had towards success. Okay. So there were some relationships in my life that needed to be cut off. One was a very close relationship, and the others were friendships within a community that I just felt like I had outgrown. And those friendships and that influence, that energy from that community and from different friends that I was communicating with, they were holding me back. And, even though they weren't doing it intentionally, it was just something that I knew in my heart it was not serving me anymore in this season of my life. So I took a brave step. And all of those relationships, the really close one, and then several other relationships, I began to distance myself from. I got out of those relationships. And it was really hard in the beginning. The hardest thing was just the decision to making the decision itself. But when I was doubtful that I would even stick with that decision. I'd struggled with insecurity a lot in the past, and just struggling with abandonment issues, struggling with being afraid of making it on my own, things like that. But I knew in my heart what I needed to do. I knew that if I was going to succeed, I needed to get the negative energy out of my life and the negative influences. So I cut these relationships off, and it was scary. But let me tell you, I didn't know it at the time, but I was doing something called pruning. Pruning is a mindset practice that I teach in my course, Mindset Mastery for Moms. And if you're interested in that, just put a comment down there and I will get you more information on my course, Mindset Mastery for Moms. But pruning is powerful, because pruning is when you cut off things that are not serving you to make room for new growth. I didn't even know what pruning was at the time, but I was doing it. So I cut off things that were not serving me, that were dragging me down, that were holding me back. And those at that time were those relationships. And then later I started changing my self-talk, because the self-talk was also holding me back. All that, that reel that keeps playing over and over again in your head. So when I cut those relationships out, I experienced a massive landslide of growth. I had no clue that was going to happen. And I rode that momentum for months. Let me tell you about the changes that I made after I cut those things out of my life, those relationships. So, like I said, the next thing that happened was I started recognizing what mindset work is, and I started with my self-talk. I started changing the way I think, the voice inside my head that was holding me back. I started recognizing those thoughts and saying, hey, this is not the path I'm going down anymore. I'm not going to put up with this anymore. And I started replacing those thoughts with affirmations that were pushing me towards my goals. And I started seeing, it became, like I said, a snowball effect. The growth started happening faster and faster. I started growing exponentially. It was amazing. And so these are some of the practical changes that I make. I took control of my health. I started losing weight. I joined a gym. I started eating healthy. I cut out sugars and white flour, started drinking water. I quit drinking coffee. It was insane. So, and then after that, I just took the plunge to start my business, and I got my business license. I started getting training to be a life coach, and I started taking on coaching clients, and it was incredible. And that's when I also became really active in my Facebook group, Survival Mode to Successful Moms Creating Momentum, and just showing up there every day. And people started joining my group, and people started interacting. And I also created my first product, which is my signature coaching program, like I said before, Mindset Mastery for Moms. And on top of that, I created 2 more products. I created a course on how to craft an irresistible sales talk, and a course on your guide to organizing and hosting an online event. And all of these things happened within a very, very short time frame. And every win that I had gave me more and more and more momentum. And I just look back at that season of my life. I also was able to reconnect with my kids better. I was able to establish stronger relationships with each of my children, and to develop habits with them that I had intended to add for a long time to implement. And I don't know, just negative energy and negative thoughts and self-doubt, all those things that held me back. And I started making just incredible changes in my life. And there's a lot of other things, but that's just, I'll stop right there. You get the picture. So I started just massively up-leveling every area of my life. I started making more money. I paid off all of my credit card debt. I started a massive savings account that's been growing. And these things didn't take years. You know, I've been in survival mode for years. This just took a few months. And you know what? I believe the best is still yet to come. I'm on a growth trajectory, and the difference that has been made, what has made the biggest difference in my life to get me out of survival mode and onto a trajectory of success is making mindset work a daily practice for the rest of my life. I don't want to plateau. I don't want to lose this momentum. So I'm doing mindset work every day. Various ways that I'm doing mindset work. So if you're interested in learning more about this, the first thing I think you need to do is figure out what is your purpose. Shifting gears here a little bit. So another thing that I did during this time was I got really clear on what is my purpose. And I was striving to create a life that was aligned to my purpose. So this is something that you feel like, okay, I want to start there. I want to figure out what is my purpose. I have created a free guide for you. It is called Your Guide to Finding Your Purpose. And I have put the link to that free guide down here in the comments of this YouTube video. Just click on it and download it. It is that easy. It is free and it is for you because I'm here to serve you and to watch you grow. And I would love to have you as a part of my Facebook group, and just please don't forget to subscribe to this video, and I will see you later. Bye.